What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we're joined by the legend himself in Hellhades. How's it going, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, man. Yeah, getting ready for Christmas. It's chilly. And yeah, I can't wait to do this. It's going to be cool.
You got yourself a Santa hat yet for your Christmas videos?
I haven't got a Santa hat,
No.
but I do play in a pool team.
Okay.
And we're having like a night out. We had to all buy waistcoats, like Christmas waistcoats. So I do have like a Santa waistcoat.
Oh, nice.
Just coming out in a week or so, yeah.
So we're going to catch you on stream with that as well, right?
Well, maybe. Gotta get two uses, right?
Yeah. But yeah, guys, I actually haven't had Hellhades on for like a year, and that's not even over-exaggerating, so it's really cool to have you on the channel. So, actually, I want to show you something. Are you ready? I got a little gift for you, in a way.
Oh, yeah?
Look at this. Hellhades phone case.
I got one. Brilliant. Nice. Merry Christmas. Like Christmas gifts all around. Nice one.
Maximum phone case.
Hold on.
Oh, look at that. Twin in. But yeah, guys, what we are going to be doing today is talking about our Ride or Die champions. So we've kind of set up 3 legendaries, 3 epics, and 1 rare each. Basically based on how much we used them, how much we really liked them, and all of that good stuff. So yeah, before we get started as well, how are you feeling about the Sand Devil? Are you a big fan of it? You've been farming it?
You know what? I haven't been farming it on my main account. I've been playing it tons on the test server. And I actually really enjoy the challenge of the fight. Like I actually think the boss is a bit quirky, and I think the more we understand it, the better the fight gets. I don't really like what comes out the other end of it. I don't love the ascension stuff. I don't love the extra layer of RNG on gear. But I think it's too costly to do all of that.
Yeah.
And I think they give it to players way too early.
Yeah.
I do like the dungeon. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm in this weird place really where it was quite cool to have something new to play around with.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate that most people are not going to love it. I mean, how do you feel, man?
I think it's the same kind of thing. It's like the cost to what you're getting back doesn't seem to like match up for me, especially in like the lower floors. So like for me, if early game player is or mid game trying to farm like a dragon or fire knight and stuff like that, you're getting your gear right. But with this, you seem to be farming hundreds of energy to be able to do like 1 ascension on a piece.
Like a minuscule game.
Yeah, and I feel like that needs to change from the lower floors 100% for this to be farmable for most players.
And they should just like push it back. Like don't unlock it for people at like level, what is it, 30 or something, 35?
Yeah,
like,
it's too early.
It needs to be like maybe 60.
Yeah,
like,
after Hydra boss.
Get their gear first.
After Hydra, easily.
Yeah.
But all right, we'll get into this video. I just want to try one thing. I feel like the phone case is going to give me luck, which it didn't.
Oh, what did you get?
Oh, it's all right.
Not a bad one.
Not a bad one. Not a bad one. So, all right, do you want to kick us off with your first champion for your Ride or Die list? I want to see this one.
Are we doing rare first?
Yeah, go for it. We go for the rares.
Yeah, so for this one, and for some of these picks, I've actually kind of used a bit of a content creator head.
Okay.
So some of these are like just my favorites, and some of them are like ones that I have as a go-to when I'm making content. So my rare I picked here is Frozen Banshee.
Okay.
Now, I just feel like Frozen Banshee is just one of the most accessible, awesome champions for players. Like, and if I'm making videos, often if I'm trying to like bring the video back down to something which makes sense for the average player, Frozen Banshee tends to be my like go-to as the clan boss poisoner or the dragon poisoner. Actually, in my late game teams, I still use her as a ice golem speed farmer. So it just because she's got that such a crazy kind of A3 into A1, I just feel like she's so good as a rare. Yeah, probably one of the best rares in the game that can still be used right through to an end game team. And yeah, I mean, poison sensitivity and then absolutely pumping out poisons on the A1, just a really good, fun champ.
Do you know what's crazy, Hades? I've actually never sat and maxed up a Frozen Banshee on my account. Can you believe it?
Not?
Never.
I actually still use her in my speed farm, Ice Golem 25.
Really, that's really cool. Now, do you know what it is? It's one of those champions where I actually pulled her very, very late. I think we got her in the Battle Pass ages ago.
That's it. Yeah, like, was it 2 years ago? I don't know.
Yeah,
ages ago.
She kind of, what happened was I accidentally crunched her and then I never managed to pull one for so long. And then since then, I just had so many poisoners. I was like, he just sat there. But really cool champion. I think she's definitely worthy of a Ride or Die champion, I guess. All right, for me, it's actually, I was speaking with Scratch on a collab before, right? And I felt like Cold Heart would have been my ride or die.
Yeah, I get that.
But at the same time, I think it's going to be Bellowa for a very similar thing with like content creation for me. Because with a champion like Bellowa, very strong for faction wars is kind of like my main use. But I always find myself, when I'm trying to showcase budget teams for like Doom Tower or dungeons and stuff like that, I feel like slapping this champion in a stun set is just crazy. With like AoE attacks on everything, decrease speed, we got block active skills, decrease attack, and drop defense, all in one rare champion. And I think he's just like one of the most complete rares in this game, honestly. Really, really strong.
Yeah, I got him. Do you remember the Affinity Cup?
Yes.
That we did? Yeah, so I got Void Affinity. And I pulled Bellowa as part of that. And I've got to say, he hard carried that like new account. It was a new account we played it on. He hard carried it right the way through. And I think I won almost every single thing, every round of the Affinity Cup. And this dude was like my absolute number one for smashing different content. So yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Cool, rare. Yeah.
But I guess we both agree if it wasn't those two, it'd probably be a Cold Heart because she's great.
Cold Heart was the obvious pick.
I
felt like it would be a bit dull to go with Cold Heart.
So, all right. Do you want to just kick us off with the Epic Champions? Let's see what we got.
Yeah. So my first Epic is going to be, maybe it is a bit more of an obvious one, but I've got to throw Seer into the mix.
Okay.
Right. Seer for me is...
Oops. Where is she again? Orcs. There we go.
Orc, yeah. She's just one of a kind. And in fact, there's a new Void Legendary that's just come out. It's kind of similar in terms of more buffs, more damage on an AoE hit. And I did a test last night on stream, and Seer still did double the new Absolute Beast Void Legendary's damage with rip-off. She did over 1 million damage to a wave. Like, she's just unique, one of a kind, absolutely insane. I use her in a whole bunch of teams, you know, in terms of speed farming. I grabbed her on my free-to-play for this year, and obviously I can't speed farm with her on a free-to-play, but she still does a lot of damage and then sends people to sleep, which means, you know, on a newer account, she's still really useful.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's all about her A3. There's not too much else going on.
Yeah.
She does bring like a team crit rate buff, but honestly, it's just how quickly can I get back to that A3? And when I do, it's big, fun numbers. So yeah, really like her.
Yeah, she's strong. I'm not sure if you was aware, but it actually took me 2.5 years to pull my first Seer. So
Did it?
I was dead. My first 3 Doom Tower rotations was no Seer, and it was just a pain, man. But now that I've actually got one, I was like, do you know that thing where it's like, oh, I'm not going to use that champion. If I ever pull her, I'm not using her. And then I ended up like, oh, do you know what? Especially with the Doom Tower climb system, she's definitely in my...
Yeah,
she really speeds it up for me. So, and I love this extra turn mechanic on the A1. So allows it to come through on like wave 3 and just like proc the extra turns, which I think is cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I actually do double climb my Whale Fest.
Oh gosh,
and it's just like full auto Doom Tower waves. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah. All right.
Who's your first one?
My first epic is gonna be one that I have to mention, and that is Godseeker Neri.
Oh yeah, good pick.
This champion is just busted, in my opinion. I think she's definitely legendary worthy, in my opinion. Yeah. I used her in Clan Boss, the Iron Twins Fortress, the Doom Tower bosses, and now even with Al Nama for the Sand Devil's Necropolis. She just seems to have a role in everywhere in this game, even Hydra Boss. Like, it's such a unique revive, reducing the cooldowns and turn meter. We've got an AoE here with the increasing of buff durations, very similar to Ankarai and Sandlash Survivors. We got heals on the A1, and we got the preempting of hits with the revive on death on the passive. I think she's just insane, man. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think she is legendary worthy, and even more so. You know, when someone just kind of like ramps up a little bit more in value when new content comes out.
Yeah,
I think this new boss, she's probably, well, she's unique. Firstly, because she's able to revive someone else when you get that massive nuke.
Yeah.
And as long as you put your other revivers into the top spot, leader spot, she can revive someone else and then basically gets the whole team back in the game, which is kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, really cool. All right, who we got next for your epics?
Yeah, next up, this is my content creator hat coming on again, where it's like, who do I go to if I want to show off just like a mid-tier build, but with absolute survivability?
Okay.
And it's Vogoth.
Ooh, do you know what? That's a great choice. I love that one.
It's just like so good. He's someone actually messaged me. It's like, I can't understand what you're doing. How are you using Vodolf to keep your team alive?
Mhm.
And I was like, I can't understand what you're doing. How can you not keep your team alive? Vodolf is around. Like, he's
Yeah.
so good. So yeah, I mean, I use him in my end game team, speed farm Bommal team with like my another pick, which I was going to pull out. He is just an absolute god like healer. Throw him into like dungeon teams if we're just trying to like hard carry another team through it, and I don't want to use like any of the real OP wave clearers.
Yeah.
He's also got the provoke, which is helpful. I just feel like his kit's quite simple, but I love that his kit revolves around passives,
Yeah.
which therefore means like you don't really need to book him to get, maximum utility out of this guy. He's just straight good. Out
100%.
out the tin, he is straight good.
Yeah, he's very cool. Like, even like this passive here is very underrated, I'd say, for Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss or just Clan
Yeah.
Boss progression. Like, this is something that's very overlooked in Vogos kit, because being able to, when attacked, places a leech debuff on the attacker for 2 turns means that you're going to have leech up for the entirety of the fight, right? And you'll heal by 18% of the damage inflicted, which does scale of War Master procs. And then you're doing the damage mitigation 25% against boss attacks. And actually a mini version of like a Vizier of extending the duration of debuffs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And also
really
just
cool.
for like clan boss, having a triple hit A1, because he's not going to do damage, right? He doesn't do damage at all. In fact, I did a maximum damage video with him, and he's probably the weakest one that I've done. But he does get a chance to get like Giant Slayer procs going with a triple hit A1. So yeah, I just feel like he's just so good in so many places.
Yeah, really cool. How many have you got in your account? Do you have like multiples, or do you just have the one maxed up?
I've only geared out one. Yeah, it's not someone that I've kind of redone in multiple ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got one geared out.
All right, wicked. All right, next one for me is going to be, it's a tough one. It's like, I came into this thinking I know what I'm going to say, but you know what? I'm going to actually put him on there. I'm going to say Dark KO. Now,
Yeah.
Dark KO has to be one of my most used champions on my account, period. I use him in Ice Golem, I use him in Dragon, I use him in Fire Knight, I use him in specific Doom Tower waves, because I'm one of those players that went for the poison explosion route in dungeons. And being able to like instantly detonate on this A1 with the poison and HP burn speeds up runs so crazy, and AoE decrease attack as well, and increasing the duration of debuffs to allow somebody like Elenaru or Zarvia to proc those extra poisons, and then placing poisons of itself as well, which is really strong for Demon Lord Clan Boss. So really strong, man.
Yeah, you want to say terrible?
Go on.
I do not have Dark Kale.
No, wait, what? You fed him? No
I
way.
don't know why. Like, I'm up to date with all of the odd Doom Tower legendaries, right? But I just didn't do normal Doom Tower for such a long time because I was thinking like I don't really need Akoff, didn't really need Rian. But then obviously they added Dark Kale into the mix.
Yeah.
And I was able to use someone else's account to make a video. So I was like, cool, he's really good. But it's probably the only one I really want out of that rotation. And I want him like badly. He's a really, really strong, like, again, legendary worthy champion.
100%. Damn, wait, you must be so behind on the Doom Tower.
I just don't really do normal Doom Tower. Like, I was just like, I wasn't doing it. And it's almost like an afterthought. And I know people say in my videos, it would take you 10 seconds to do a level, and they're right. It's literally like, there's no excuse. I just haven't done it. And yeah, it's saddening when I see people using them, really.
It's funny because I was actually in your Twitch stream the other day, and somebody was like, Hades is doing the normal Doom Tower for once. I was like,
yeah, that's right.
No way.
Yeah. But no, he's top tier, sure.
So, all right, who was your final epic champion?
Yeah, so I was torn between 2 here, or actually probably 3. And I've gone with the one that I have built multiple copies of.
Okay.
And that is Ugo.
Ugo, okay.
Ugo, yeah. So Ugo, I always thought Ugo was a good champion. Right?
Yeah.
When she came out, I had her kind of pretty high, if not top, on my tier list when she first came out. And I guess it wasn't until Hydra came out that I started to build multiple copies, and I'm just finding more and more uses for Ugo. So for Hydra, she's absolutely top tier. In fact, goes into teams ahead of legendary champions.
Yeah.
And I'm actually getting into Hydra. I really enjoy Hydra now. Didn't really enjoy it at first, but I do now. And it's a good challenge for someone who's kind of trying to push the end game stuff.
Yeah.
And she just does such an amazing job on it. But then she's also now really strong in the Sand Devils and Necropolis. So coming in with that team revive plus a heal plus cleanse. She's
Yeah.
got a very unique kind of revive mechanic, and she's also got a leech on her A1, which just kind of makes her viable almost anywhere. So she could come in clan boss, she could come in dungeon running, and I think even before that she was used as a strong arena drop defense champion because you're also putting out block buffs. So if
Yeah.
someone was running like the swift parry gear, you were able to just kind of negate that straight away. I just think she's got an amazing kit for an epic.
Yeah, I agree. I actually went and built up my second one in the last CVC, and
Did you?
I definitely feel the value of it, especially on Hydra, because as you guys are aware, we have to build up 3 teams for Hydra boss, and when you're trying to do the block buff so you don't get the poison cloud, you want to be able to have this up, right? Especially for like Head of Mischief as well. So, yeah, I agree. Very strong. Do you know what? This actually might be very strong if you had like a stone skin build for the Sun Devils. Is that what you was talking
That's
about?
exactly what I did, yeah. So I
Okay.
put her in stone skin. She basically tanks the first wave in stone skin
And then revives with this.
and revives the whole team.
Yeah.
And after that, if you've got a good kind of sleep mechanic going on, then you can stop him doing a full nuke ever again. So yeah, that's exactly what I did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very strong. All right.
Who's your third one?
This is the one that I was kind of stuck between. Obviously, guys, I'm just gonna say now. I could have said Cornelia, I could have said Genzin. I'm not doing it for this video because it's just everyone knows that, right?
Yeah.
Ah, man. Do you know what? It's so tough. It's so tough.
It's so tough.
Do you
I've
know
got
what?
2 more names which I've written down and
Okay.
crossed out a few times.
All right, I'm gonna say Allure, right? I feel like Allure definitely deserves the spot, and the other one I would have said, and I'm pretty sure you'd agree, would be Geomancer.
Yeah.
But
I had Geomancer and I had Demitha as my other one, which I've kind of written down and crossed out. Yeah, both are insane.
it's so tough because we said this free epic thing, but yeah, Geomancer, Demitha, there's so many great epics in this game. But I feel like Allure for Dark Fae and Fire Knight in particular, there's just like no other champion like her in the game to be able to completely manipulate turn meters of bosses in general. Like if you think about turn meter reduction, you look to Allure because she has the best turn meter A1 reduction in the game, in my opinion, with his Psychic Whip. And apart from that, she actually has like a cool drop defense. She's got sleeps. She hits pretty hard on this for faction wars. But the main thing is just this, right? Like if you get lucky, put 4 books into this, you're good to go.
and actually, you don't even need any books, do you? Like if you just wanted to use her for that A1, and used other people for damage, she's another one, a bit like Vodal Freddy. You could literally use her straight out the packet, and she's already doing the job you want her to do.
Yeah.
So yeah. I agree. I mean, up until only about 2 weeks ago, she was still in my Dark Fae and Fire Knight teams, like super endgame teams.
Is that because you put a Acrizia?
I got a Acrizia, yeah. And Acrizia, I was like, Acrizia is mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, guys, this would have been the final champion. I do use him everywhere. Iron Twins, Hydra boss, Clan boss, you name it. He's a boss killer. But he's just such a traditional pick. I didn't want to throw him into this one.
He's actually the first name I wrote down, and I thought I'm already calling out a C. I can't call out Geo as well. But he would be. He's definitely in the mix.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be cool if we just spoke about champions that people might not have guessed, right? That'd be
cool.
But all right, legendary time. We're getting to the big boys, the beasties, the maximum damage. Who are we choosing?
Okay, so my first one is actually going to be Ghostborn.
Oh, see, this is why I like doing these videos. Like, I would have never guessed that. So where is Ghostborn? I can't recall it.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
So Ghostborn is actually in like my speedrun Dragon team, Fire Knight team. I use him in Dark Fae. Like he's just unique. So his drop defense is irresistible, which just makes it very easy to kind of basically it eliminates that 3% chance you're not going to land a debuff.
Yeah.
And if you're building a strong enough seer, actually the two pair really well together as long as you've got buffs coming in from somewhere else. So I used to use like a Lydia in his spot or a Draco or whatever, but I just feel like Ghostborn gives me that consistency. He actually hits pretty damn hard. And yeah, it's just a fun champ. He's fun, he's unique. And for me, in terms of a ride or die, well, I use him almost every day, my raid life. So he had to be in the mix.
He's such a cool champ. It's weird because, do you know when I'm doing Shardpool videos, I never feel like, oh, I want a Ghostborn today. But then in hindsight, I think he is a champion I'd actually really like to have, honestly. Yeah. Really strong.
Because people see him, he's just a drop defense champion, and I get it. There's a lot now.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that his
eliminates the RNG.
resisted. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's actually really good.
I have to agree. All
What's
right.
your first one?
My first one actually might surprise you. It's going to be Snick Track.
Really? Right. I did not see that coming.
This
Okay.
is one of my favorite champions to use on my account. I use him every single day, and I love this dude. And the second that I pulled him, I actually went and booked him up straight away. And I just, since then, he's just been in like my Hydra teams mainly, I'd say. But I do use him in like some Doom Tower stuff, some secret rooms, and just some fun stuff like, what shall we do today? All right, let's just play a stick track. But basically, what it comes down to is the A1 ability, where if they're under a leech, right? So let's just say the head of Wrath, let's just say hypothetically he's under that poison cloud and you can't attack him. Well, if he's under a leech before that goes up, he can actually go through and place a decrease attack through the poison cloud because it's before attacking and it just places. So being able to mitigate that for me is like a godsend, especially in like when you get to like 100 turns in on the Hydra boss and one bad move makes you mess up. This can really clutch that strong attack. But also for me, I don't have a Krisk, I don't have a Necmofar, and I didn't go for my Mighty Uko. So I kind of regret that one. No, I kind of messed up because I seen the 9,350 points for a rare. I raged out and I didn't do it. And now I regret it.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
But for me, like, for Hydra boss in particular, this was like my next best thing because I didn't have these top champions to be able to do Hydra. And for him, he does decrease speed, he does a shield, and if enemies are under leech, it actually cannot be removed, which is very strong. And with the Brimstone, because he's got reflect damage, when the bosses hit me, he's actually reflecting the Brimstone, meaning you're not relying on attacks every time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know I did that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so very similar to how a Underpriest Brogni is. So if he's under reflect damage, you can actually reflect the Brimstone back onto the bosses. So
damn, I did not know that. That's awesome, actually.
Yeah, so I find like this is very, very consistent for me with a 2-star Brimstone to have as many chances as possible to get them out and put it on the heads that actually do AoE attacks. So I like that. Also, ally protection, keeping us sturdy as a HP-based champion. And while he's under a reflect damage, does the leech. So being able to heal all of our champions by something you're doing anyway. So I love this. I really love this dude. I use him a lot.
I did not see that coming. That's actually awesome.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 for you? Yeah.
Yeah. So number 2, I think I think this might be a bit more cliche, a bit more kind of run of the mill, but I'm going to throw a Krizia in there because I've had, I guess there's been a few champions where pulling that champion has made a real difference to my account over the years.
Yeah.
And I guess Septimus was one of those before they kind of changed enemy max HP stuff. When I first pulled Septimus, it was like the most fun I'd had in the game by a mile, like just going out and blowing stuff up.
Yeah.
Krizia is kind of like that now. Like Krizia absolutely wrecks Hydra, she wrecks Dragon, she wrecks Fire Knight, she wrecks the new boss. Like she's everywhere for me. She's in my new Dark Fae team. Like I've never had one champion come in and just get into so many teams and do so much work. She's got good survivability with her passive. Yeah, I just feel like it's probably if someone said to me, if you started again, which champion would you want the most? Would be a Krizia. I think what's a fun champion.
Yeah, I would love to have this champ. I remember when we had the test server access when she first came out. I was reading a kit. I was like, "How have you got enemy max HP on everything? Like, what's going on here?"
But then irresistible turn meter steal on the A3.
Yeah, it's just like, busted, man.
Yeah, like I don't build her with any accuracy. You can get accuracy for a drop defense A1. I don't build any accuracy at all. I just build her to smack as hard as possible and go pretty quick. She's just so good.
For me, I'd say the only downside of this champion is the aesthetics. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
Do you know what it is? I feel like for a champion that's this strong, right? When you're playing with her, she just looks like this is all you're seeing. Like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
I would love to see like some fire up here, very similar to the sword, like coming out of her eyes, coming out of her hair. Like I'm here to smack everything in the game, sort of thing. But that would be my only downside. It's just the aesthetics, but the kit is really, really strong.
Yeah, cool. Okay, man. Who's your number 2?
Number 2. Do you know what? You want to talk about your end game? I'm talking about my end game. Let's go for Duchess Lilitu. Now, very similar to the reason what you said with Krizia, Raid. I'm starting again. Which champion do you want to start with, YST? If it's not a Genzin, it's going to be Duchess Lilitu because you talk about everywhere in this game. I can't even think of one place where you wouldn't use a Duchess. Can you?
Yeah.
Like,
no. I mean, if you got, I've actually been asked this question a ton of times on stream. if you started, who would be the hardest carry?
It has to be
And
Duchess.
well, I always get torn between Duchess and Krisk. Like
We had
as a
this
starter
discussion.
account.
We had this discussion on Chosen Stream. So it was like me, Darth,
Right.
J Gigs, and we was actually sitting there and talking about who is the best champion in the game, and it was between Krisk and Duchess for like universal, used everywhere, and it's definitely out of those two.
I think the difference for me, so Krisk, I think has got more potential to speed things up. But Duchess basically means you should never die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you should never lose. I think Krisk probably does the same thing, but really helps you get through stuff quicker. That's my only. That's always my way. Like Duchess never lose. Krisk still probably don't really lose, but also speed you up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't disagree. Duchess is in almost like when new content drops, almost one of the first champions. It's like, well, probably need to put Duchess in.
Yeah, and then the first comment you get is, "Can you do this without a Duchess?"
Yeah.
But yeah, even this passive, I think is like very, very strong. Like 15% from bosses and 25% from AoE attacks. It just carries is such a huge damage mitigation. And when you start bringing in like Star Wars sets and other damage mitigations like Venomage's passive, Geomancer's passive, you start to hardly take any damage, right? So
yeah, I actually think that's probably the best passive in the game.
Yeah, it's so strong.
It's so strong. Yeah, it's so good.
All right, let's head into your final legendary one.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so difficult because there's obviously a ton of insane legendaries, right?
Yeah.
And I could have picked, I don't know, maybe 30 different ones, but I've gone for the first legendary I ever pulled.
Okay.
It was Prince Kaimar.
Was that your first ever legendary?
My first ever legendary.
No way. That is insane. Wow.
And I literally pulled him in the first week of playing this game. And I guess, I don't know if they did like an overall kind of who's your most used champion as a legendary, I think he would have to be it. Because he's in the early days, he was in pretty much all of my teams because he's doing turn meter boost and resetting champions abilities and all that type of stuff with his A3. And then kind of more recently, I mean, he's in speed farm teams for me because he's able to reset cooldowns on champions.
Yeah.
He's in big arena teams. When I was doing my plat pushing, he was one of the main champions that I used in my plat pushes because of his A2. He's able to kind of sleep the enemy, which makes, with certain masteries, makes you hit harder with your nuka, or just makes like reaction gear non-existent because people have a turn before they then wake up and then you smack them down anyway.
Yeah.
So he's clearing off all of the buffs from the enemies. And even in speed farm running, because he's got an A1 that can apply poisons, most bosses, that's actually pretty useful as well. I just feel like as an all-round champion, he is like insanely good. He allows you to do stuff in the game that there's really not very many other champions that allow you to do it.
Yeah.
And also, like, it just looks so cool. It's such a cool design.
Yeah.
I think all round for my first legendary, got to be my most used ride or die.
Yeah, I remember when you pull him, he's like one of those champions where you just feel the impact. Like you can now speed farm every dungeon in the game with Zero Poison Explosion. You can now do arena and just speed farm everything. Doom Tower. He's just such a great champion. Yeah. Which skin do you like better? Do you like Tyrants more or do you like Prince Kaimar's?
I like Kaimar's.
You like Kaimar's more?
Yeah, I do. What about you?
Do you know what? I'm actually surprised because you're Hellhades and this guy's literally from hell.
I like the fiery look. I think the sort of lightning type effect is just cool.
Yeah, it's cool. But all right, final champion.
Yeah, who you got?
Who we got? I got it in my head. Just figured out the faction. There we go. Elenaru.
I literally thought you were clicking Pixnil then. I was like, this is some sort of meme. Am I like, where's Jeremy Beadle? Right,
do you know what? I actually made the biggest mistake I've ever done in my raid account in 3 years yesterday. I was running at the chance to max up a Helio, right? Because he has like some passive where you can throw debuffs back from your allies. And I thought with this new champion, with the fusion, that when the bombs gets, when you put all the poisons up on the boss and then you get reflected, I thought we'd be able to throw everything back. But then I realized that it was a protected bomb and I wasted all of my books and I was angry. I did it on my main account first. That was the worst thing before the test server. I was like, what am I doing here? But yeah, Elenaru, this champion was a game changer for me because I didn't have a seer, as I said earlier. And when I pulled her, she was actually a champion I never thought I'd ever want. So she came out my shard. I was like, oh, Elenaru, whatever. but she's one of the best champions in the game for this combustibility to allow you to speed farm those dungeons with those poison debuffs for poison explosion. And I just feel like she's so cool, that non-resistible burn to coincide actually with a Dark Hail. And that's what makes her better than Zarya for me personally. Because when I'm doing Fire Knight, right, when the burn goes out, non-resistible, it's actually an extra debuff that Dark Hail can detonate. And it actually speeds us up a lot. So she would actually be 100% in my top 3 legendaries, top 5 on my account. For the ones that I use the most. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's going to be interesting together with the Rat King once people start to play around with it, because you can detonate those poisons and heat.
So you can actually detonate them. I know you could like instantly detonate with like a Dark Key on the A1. So can you fully just take off the non-resist?
Yeah, because I thought protected. Someone asked me and I was like, I'm not sure it's going to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can. Like a protected debuff doesn't stop you from blowing it up or whatever, whereas a protected buff seems to stop someone like a Seer ripping them off.
That's very interesting, you know, because have you done the Bommal strategies yet with the new guy?
I've used him. Yeah, I used him in kind of like my current Bommal team.
Yeah. So yeah, I basically managed to blow up Bommal in like 2 turns with the new fusion, and
oh wow.
But the thing that was annoying was because there's such a big poison tick on the boss, it's like you have to wait for a few cycles or let your champions die, and then bring them back to like do the abilities again, because there wasn't.
Because I see what you're saying. Yeah, because you haven't got enough space.
Yeah, so if you can actually use somebody like an Eleanor who's speed tuned, when he actually puts the poisons up, you can detonate those, come through again, and then instantly get the bombs out. And I think that would be a pretty cool strategy for the future.
Nice. Yeah, but definitely Eleanor. When I pulled, I did the same sort of thing. I was just kind of like, not really sure that she's that great.
Yeah.
And then actually I started to use her in some dungeons. That was before I was doing Seer farming as well. And she's like, it's a nutty champion. And actually the irresistible burn, so good for someone like a Sorath, where
very strong,
like high level, and you really the accuracy you need against Sorath at high level is insane.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm just going to throw this screen up in the back because it's actually using 3 of the champions. Well, 4 of the champions that was mentioned today with Kaimar, Dark Hail, Eleanor, and all of that good stuff. But Hades.
Is this your normal team?
This is actually the team that I use all the time, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Eleanor Combust, going to come through reset with Kaimar, Mr. Hades' choice. Poisons, extend with Dark Hail, and then we're going to come through with a Combust again. And then boom, now that we're coming up against the boss, we can now actually place that non-resistible burn. Of course, we built her in accuracy anyway, but for anybody that wants to use it, and like Sorath, like you was mentioning, starts to become a crazy team. Very, very quick.
Yeah. And actually, the the Combust for these champions doesn't need any accuracy as well.
Yeah.
Which is quite cool, actually. Like, you can build them differently and still get really cool results.
Yeah, 100%.
Ah, that's cool. Nice.
But Hades, thank you so much for coming on the channel today. It's been a long time in the making, but I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on. It's been good fun.
Yep. Anything you want to say here before we sign off, until it's like another year before you come back?
I don't know, man. Just like get ready for maximum damage. No, I don't know. Have a good Christmas, everyone.
Yeah. And guys, we actually did a collaboration on Hellhades' video as well, where we was talking about everything Cornelia, and I know that you guys love that. So make sure you guys head over there, drop a subscribe to Hades if for some reason you're not already, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.